Well, the pandemic has hit the economy hard, which means more people have been relying on food support. Mitch Legan reports on how food banks have been answering the call.
The pandemic led to one of the sharpest economic downturns in U.S. history. As COVID creeped across the country and employees were laid off, increasing numbers of Hoosiers became unsure where their next meal would come from. Record numbers turned to food banks.
Right before COVID started, we were at about 3,000 to 3,500 people, depending on the month, per month. COVID happened in March. We went up to about 5,000. By December, we were at 8,000.
Chavez says after March, almost half of people making the trip to Ellettsville had never been to a food pantry before. By early September, Pantry 279 had already surpassed its 2019 numbers.
They're upset, they're scared, they're worried, people that are coming here. Will we be able to get enough food? Will we still have a house? Will we have electricity for heating and cooling?
Almost 1 million Hoosiers were food insecure before 2020. That's about 15% of the state's population. School closures cut off a vital source of food for many families. Job losses and the unknown risks of going to the grocery store added to the problem.
The need in Indiana has roughly doubled. So we've seen a disproportionate impact, and I think you can attribute some of that to the percentage of jobs we had in affected industries.
The pandemic also created problems for food banks. Shutdowns, confusion, and uncertainty led to the biggest disruption of the food supply chain since World War II. Many banks and pantries had to figure out how to distribute food safely while dealing with the new airborne virus.
We go to a pre-planned parking lot distribution with local partners and distribute food that way. We dramatically increase the number of mobiles because you can do that in a socially distant way.
Plus, the pandemic cut the overall supply of volunteers, and those helping out faced increased hours and stress.
I have tendinitis now, but my health is taking the same toll as all their health. All of us, James dislocated his shoulder, Melanie messed up her back, Jeannie had a heart attack.
In many places, surrounding communities stepped up to assist with the increased need with food, money, or time. But as spring approaches and vaccine rollout increases, donations have begun to slow. Demand is staying high.
I don't know how many years the recovery will be for the neighbors that we're feeding, but I do know it'll be a multi-year recovery and far longer than the medical recovery.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Mitch Legan.